Listening to Richard, one cannot help but feel sorry for the New Patriotic Party. I'm saying so because, Moro, we are at a stage where they must engage in deeper reflections about the future of their party. And they must come to accept that when it comes to political parties and its operations, there are important pillars that drive progress within those political parties. And most of them are senior members of the party or elders, if you would like to call them so. And at any point in time, especially those of us entrusted with leadership responsibilities in the party, and we are young, comparing ourselves to them, we must demonstrate extreme measure in our commentary when it comes to even issues concerning these elders that we may have different views on. Because it is not for nothing that the parties and their constitutions establish these bodies, like Council of Elders and even senior members of the party.
Yeah.
It is not for nothing. You have failed in your responsibilities as national executives of the party to have engaged in meaningful consultations aimed at building bridges behind the scenes before announcing that thank you tour. So if there are any fallouts as a result of that, your incompetent decision, you guys should be at least accountable enough to accept that failure or lapse in your judgment. Because if you had done the needful, I am not sure that Honorable Ajako would have been out there with an article, because he would have been given an opportunity to air his views internally. But you have opened the floodgates for people to begin to run down your so-called efforts aimed at building party. And you see what is making it difficult for them to concentrate or to have a better strategy as to how to come out from these their woes is because of their individual ambitions at the party head office. So when they meet to take decisions, the decisions are largely based on their self-interest, how to retain their respective decisions. So they don't do any sober reflection that is nationalistic in nature, intended to expand the frontiers of the New Patriotic Party when it comes to their democratic gains. And that is worrying. And that is why I'm telling them that they must learn. Because if you look at the NDC, when we got to that stage, we coiled back. We listened to each other behind the scenes. Series of meetings were held that birthed a very progressive party that was ready to capture power. And that was the reason why we performed creditably in the 2020 elections. And indeed, we still believe, if not because of the unethical intervention of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo using state security, we believe that that election was won by the National Democratic Congress. So that level of competence is lacking in the affairs of the New Patriotic Party. And my brother, instead of him to pay more attention to what is happening within their rank and file, he's talking about the National Democratic Congress and John Dramani Mahama. And that's why I was surprised you didn't correct him. There you simply cannot find any evidence under the sun where His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama has insulted, what's the name? The late Flight Lieutenant General John Rawlings. Moro, you know.
He never said that.
Oh, but he said that he attacked him. How did he attack him?
Oh, you said insulted at the 200.
Oh, so when he attacked him, how did he attack him? Yes. And I was surprised that, and I was hugely surprised that you did not ask him to provide basis for that.
His explanation was...
Moro, I explained that.
No, just a second. So that doesn't come across as if I allowed him to just say what... He was talking about the exclusion of his daughter.
No, for him that was another different, and I'm going to respond to that as well. No,
he connected, he linked it.
No. Okay. He said that there's evidence of President Mahama attacking General Rawlings. And I intervened, but you told me to stop because I expected you to tell him no.
No, he was
then
talking
in his
about
bid
the
to
exclusion of the NATO.
Please, in his bid to explain the friction, that was how come he drew in Zanato, questioning why Dr. Zanato has not been appointed. His Excellency President Mahama is still forming his government. As you know, we have about 56 appointees so far as ministers. 4 more to go. The appointments are not over. Boards are still being constituted. You cannot sit in this chair and determine for His Excellency President Mahama who to appoint into his government or where to appoint such a person. You have no idea the fantastic relationship between His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama and Dr. Zanato. Maybe you need to go back there and do your research about the relationship between the two. We all know that President Mahama is a gentleman. And so be rest assured that it is not just reflected in his role when he was, it didn't just reflect in his role when he was flag bearer, but to a very large extent, even now as President of the Republic of Ghana. The likes of you and other leading members of the New Patriotic Party, President Mahama is able to accommodate you guys. How much more his own party members? Come on. It's a sea of difference when it comes to your leadership and that of the attributes of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Moro, he took issue with my assessment of the leadership qualities of Dr. Bawumia. Richard, on this table, one of the basic things we are expected to do is to objectively assess, evaluate the leadership qualities of our leaders. You sit here on a daily basis and you seek to evaluate the qualities of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, his leadership abilities. Nothing bars me from doing so when it comes to the personality Dr. Bawumia. And if I do so, I am not subjecting him to ridicule or using unacceptable language like you did use on your own senior member, Honorable what's his name? Bwacha Jacob. No. In truth, I feel that Dr. Bawumia is always concerned about his own personal interest. And at any point in time, he is expected to speak in the interest of the nation. He weighs it against his own hidden motives to determine whether indeed it is strategic for him to speak or not. We've seen it in this country. If you claim that you were against e-levy and the president was pushing for it, nothing prevented you from resigning on the basis of principle, because it was not just e-levy alone you made reference to. More, remember, he spoke about betting tax. He spoke about the $58 million that was spent in a hole, the most expensive hole in this country. And many other things. He made references to arrogance of power. Okay. And I told you that in other countries, politicians have resigned on the basis of principle. Right. Simply because they cannot agree with certain decisions taken by their own parties in government. So if Dr. Bawumia truly wants us, or if he actually wanted us to distance him from the mess of the last 8 years, the most honorable thing he ought to have done was simply to resign on the basis of principle and call his government out. And that is why I had to draw that comparison between his conduct and that of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the animosity between Nana Addo and President Kufuor was not hidden. But Nana Addo never even once took a party platform or a national platform and condemned the policies of President Kufuor, even after he was defeated in the 2008 general election. He stood his grounds and defended those policies. But many people knew the differences between the two leaders. Nana Addo did not go saying that, oh, I lost the 2008 election because Kufuor did this, because this happened, because this happened. No, he showed leadership. Okay. Bawumia lacked that leadership. And that is worrying. And you see, the reason why the party is in this chaotic state is because there's no such leadership today. There's no leader. Dr. Bawumia does not have the political capital or strength to provide that leadership as far as the New Patriotic Party is concerned. And Moro, I asked my brother a simple question. If you look at Dr. Bawumia, who are the pillars behind him? His political survival depended on the political bloc of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So today, take that bloc out. And he's a nobody in the politics of the New Patriotic Party. So these are the realities.
He's not been able to build a constituency?
Absolutely not. And you see, that also speaks to his abilities as a leader. He's not been able to.
How do you know?
Are we going to make references to the likes of Dennis Miracle Zabwaji, Dr. Alolo and Co. as the pillars behind Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in the current NPP? Come on, Moro.
Okay.
Dr. Mahmoud is naked when it comes to the politics of the NPP. And I dare say that he should get ready for a showdown.
Okay.
I know that the head office there, they are divided. I don't know where my brother stands, whether he's for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia or Ken. But I can tell you that as a matter of principle, what is happening today, that seemed to be diminishing the influence of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, was engineered by elements at the head office who are against his candidature.
Okay.
And we should brace ourselves up.
All right. All right.
For the battle to eventually unfold. Because I know, and Moro, we'll come back to this table.
Okay.
I know that the Nana Addo Danko Akufo-Addo bloc
right.
will not be supporting Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in the next flag bearership contest, because indeed he has declared war on them, and I'm positive that they will respond in equal measure.
Okay.
But I can only hope that they quickly put themselves together and come back again for us to concentrate on the business of building this nation.
All right.
Because as a responsible government, we require the work of a responsible opposition party.
Right.
They must be quick in building the party and get back to the drawing board so that we can focus on the issues confronting this nation.
End the